Grow My Cleaning Company teaches owners of cleaning companies just like you how to grow your company, make more money, and finally take charge of your financial future and your life. This podcast is about automating and creating systems that give you time and money freedom so you can grow like crazy without losing control. Since this is totally free, if you're getting tons of value, want to support us and make sure that you get more of the good stuff, subscribe, rate, and review to this podcast today. Now, on to the show. Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion with Grow My Cleaning Company and Katherine and Daniel Thaemert, which is fairly easy to say, but kind of tricky to spell out. I'll let you guys read in the blog, check that out. So Katherine started as a lady in her bucket 5 years ago this month, which is super exciting, and evolved to High Plains Cleaning. They've now got 6 part-time cleaners covering 3 counties in Northeast Colorado. And I think, because these guys are graduates from our program, I can't remember. I think you had 0 to like 1 or 2 employees, but we'll come back to that. Anyway, that's who these human beings are. They're mostly residential, but a little bit of commercial. And I will yell at them off air because they've been kind enough to come on a podcast. I can't yell at them right here. All right. So we had a little chat before we started, and it seems like they've got questions. They've got a lot. So if it's okay with you guys, are you cool if we just dive right into what's going on in your world and how I can help?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So the question they had, because Lindsay kind of sets it up so I know what's coming, was they want to know how to avoid burnout in the early stages of business when you can't afford to delegate work to others. And then before we started, like, well, we've evolved that question, but I was so in love with that question, I wanted to answer it and then let you guys have free reign to take this anywhere you want. Sound fair?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So it's so funny how the older and crabbier I get, the less stuff is tactical and the more stuff is mindset and our beliefs and stories that we tell ourselves. So I will answer your question with a story because those are the best stories. When I started, so when my bride and I, we were just talking about Natalie off air, we always joke that when we met, my business was kind of running itself and doing whatever it wanted. So we just had fun and traveled the world and everything was great. And it wasn't really growing, but it was good business. We made great wages. It was fun. And I was a single guy. What did I care? So we did that. And then we got married. I was like, holy crap. I've got a wife. I gotta like get to work. So like I lured her in to marriage with this fun, traveling the world and the dating. And as soon as we got married, I'm like, get to work, woman. So it wasn't exactly like that, but she may have felt that way. Katherine just gave Daniel a knowing look. So I don't know who put who to work, but I have a feeling I have a story that might be a little similar back there, which, yeah, maybe we'll get to hear. And I promise this is going to come around to, you're like, what does this have to do with my question? I'm getting there. I'm coming. It's a long way, but it's worth it. I promise. So because Natalie's an amazing human being, she kind of helped with the company that we're in. We sold it. That was that was our first 7-figure exit. We built another one, sold that first, the same 7 figures a lot quicker. Then we started this coaching company. And as we were kind of starting companies, I had this belief of I'm doing here huge air quotes for my podcast friends. I needed Natalie to do stuff because, again, here come the air quotes. I couldn't afford someone to do it. Now Natalie's been out of the business for feels like a year or 2. I don't know, a while. And I realized looking back, one of 2 things was the case. 1, it didn't need to be done, or 2, I could have afforded to pay somebody. So there's a lie buried in that question of how to avoid burnout in early stages here's the lie, when you can't afford to delegate work to others.
Okay.
I would rephrase that to go, and there's really 2 questions, the burnout. And if that was the main part of the question, we'll circle back and we'll get that one. But I focused in on the how to avoid burnout when you can't afford to delegate work to others. So if you'll allow me, let me rephrase that. That's a belief, right? So embedded in that question is the belief I can't afford to delegate work to others, right? And certainly when we're starting, it feels that way. So I get all you new guys, gals out there, and the Thaemerts aren't new, but it feels like we can't delegate. Honest to goodness, if I was going to start today, I would start delegating everything right off the bat. The difference being, I know what needs to be done and what has a positive return on investment and what is just a task that needs to be done. So non-recurring setup tasks, which is not what you guys are talking about because you've been here for 5 years, right? But non-recurring setup tasks, filing the LLC, getting insurance, kind of that garbage, it's hard to delegate that out because it's non-recurring, right? But I'm guessing what you guys are talking about is recurring tasks like ordering supplies, hauling rags, cleaning things, right? Like these are the things that you're like, we can't afford it. So what I believe to be a lie is we can't afford to delegate work. What I believe to be the truth is we can't afford to delegate non-profitable work, or we're too small to have our business pay for our needs. So once we get the truth of that matter, we can really look at how to solve it properly. So cleaners.
So honestly, it's a little of the last two. We did the math, and honestly, it just did not pay for us to be in the field, but yet like we're the third backup, we've got our, part-time, full-time employees. We have another part-time fill-in. And then if, we have too many people take off work or whatever, we'll step in. And it's not a problem because we don't have a manager that runs. We took your advice on that. We don't have somebody that comes through and checks everybody's work. They check their own work. And then we're just coming in
and each other's. They should be checking their own and each other's. Okay.
Yep. And so, that was something we took care of pretty, June, July, August.
We decided to start hiring in June.
But
and we're recording
October,
this March, by the way, just so everyone has a little context. So, they decided this 9 months ago. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, it's been a year since we took your course. And so we literally can piece it out within months of this happened and this happened. So, but it's also that we're small enough that it's not meeting our needs too. Because we're out in the country, I knew that it was going to take a while for us to actually, get up and running slower, I think, than what it would be, say, in the city and stuff. But, because the amount of people that are in our income, in our greens, we literally only have 300 people within those 3 counties that are in our green, our perfect prospects.
All right, so hold on. We're wandering into more lies or more beliefs that aren't serving you.
Okay.
First of all, I'm going to take your premise and then we'll move on. Of the 300, how many do you have as clients?
40.
Okay. So that's more than 10%. So now we can at least have the conversation of what would it look like to expand our niche. Oftentimes, people don't know what that amount is, right? So the fact that it's 300, that's really impressive. Great job. These sound like people who've taken our course. The fact that you have more than 10% of those, that definitively how many there are, and that you've got more than 10% of them, it puts you in the top 92% where we can actually have that conversation. So it doesn't mean because we've got 40, which God bless, I feel like there's an echo on my end. Hopefully it's not on your end. We could actually have that conversation. So what I'm not saying is once you have over 10%, you have to do something different. I'm saying once you have over 10%, you can at least open that conversation, right? Because until you get to 10%, it's just not costing you more to get those leads. The only reason we need to do something different is when it becomes prohibitively expensive to get that lead, right? If there was 300 and you had 292, which would be very, very hard. The 8 that aren't signed up, they don't want you, right? To try and change their mind and it's 292 is a ridiculous thing, right? Once you get to 50 or 100 or maybe even 100, it gets expensive, right? Because there's some reason they don't want it, and let's not do that. Okay. So I love that what you guys are saying is based in data, whereas a lot of people just make crap up. So the second lie or second belief I heard that's not serving you is because we live in a town that is small and only has 300 of our target market, we have to grow slow. And you said some version of that.
Okay, yeah.
The truth is we've got several people in our next level group, and I'm sure in Clean Nation, I don't know, that live in one city and their business is in a completely different city. I live in Phoenix. We have more clients in Australia than we have in Phoenix, right? And again, you're like, well, you coach, you jerk. Your thing's set up for, we're physically in-house. I got it. But even if my coaches coached live, they don't have to coach from my house. You know what I'm saying? Like every single person I've hired without meeting them or meeting them the way I'm meeting you guys, right? Virtually. So, and again, my business doesn't matter because you can believe it or not, but we've got several people in Cleaning Nation that started their business in one place and just left. And if they want to start in any market, they could. So I'm not saying that's what you should do. I'm saying
really scares me.
It's okay. And it shouldn't scare. Once you do it, you'd be like, that's it. It's not that hard of a deal.
It's been a conversation around here for a while about, because we're very close to large population centers. I mean, we're talking an hour away.
So let me make it even harder for you. This will be a quick story, I promise. We bought our first cabin in Prescott, which is about 90 minutes from Phoenix. And then we started using it as a vacation rental. which is probably the most difficult rental, right? Because there's people in and out. It's not the same people like for months at a time. It's different people every weekend. And we realized we're never going to go there. Like we just had other people handle it because an hour was just too far. So then we've got regular rental properties, to be fair, not vacation rentals in Illinois. I think we've got one in Indiana. I don't know. I've never been to them. They're just on paper to me. Never even been. So I kind of realized once you get over the part you're going to drive to it, what's it matter? If you're not going to go, does it matter if it's an hour and a half away that you're never going to go or a 6-hour plane ride that you're never going to go? Really we've got this emotional belief that's like, has nothing to do with nothing, right? Like if I have a property manager, and again, I know property managers are it's a little easier to run a rental property than a company. I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but the concepts, the beliefs and the fears are exactly the same. So once I got over we could have a house in Prescott, and we started that one, like, we couldn't buy a house outside of our thing. So we bought one we could drive to, but we're not going to drive an hour and a half to fix a toilet. We're going to pay somebody. It's ridiculous. And then once we realized we're never going to drive to it, it's like, what does it matter if it's next door, if we're never going to go, or 1,000 miles away? If we're not going to go, we're not going to go. So same with your deal. If and when you're ready and willing to hire people remotely, you really don't need that to be there. So again, I'm not coaching you must expand your business. I am coaching you to not believe the lie of because we're in a small town, we can't have the business we want. You could say because we're in a small town and we choose not to serve anyone outside of that small town, that's going to take us a little longer to grow, or we're going to have to do a lot more services for a lot fewer people. Even then I wouldn't go, see how I didn't go, well, because we're in a small town and we choose to only work in a small town, then we can't grow. It's like, are there any wealthy people in your small town? You said there's about 300 of them. I promise you there are. And guess what? Sam Walton, or he's dead now, Elon Musk could move to your small town and he would be a wealthy person, and he wouldn't be like, well, I'm now in a small town, I must go broke. Right? He would continue being the wealth that he is. So I'm guessing there are wealthy people. If they're not, you can be the wealthy people. So what I'm trying to get everyone to get is we need to shift our beliefs first, and then reality will follow. When we take this perceived reality, we start switching our beliefs to it, we are boned. That is not what entrepreneurs do. Entrepreneurs take the world as they see it and bend it to their reality, ideally for good. Worker bees, no offense to any worker bees out there, take their reality and bend it to someone else as well. So you could, if you were committed to success, and I shouldn't say like you're not, but some people aren't. If you're like, we'd like to, and I'm not saying you, just for people out there listening, we'd like to be wealthy, but it's just not that important. That's okay. Then the depth outside of your comfort zone you're willing to step is going to shrink. That's okay. So this is really more for everybody in the Thaemerts, because I don't want you guys to think I'm telling you that you're not committed, but because I know you are. But first and foremost, go, what are we willing to do? So perfect example, Daniel said, that's the conversation been around here, right? So the problem is you're probably looking at it, and I don't know who's on which side. So neither you can get mad at me because I don't know who I'm agreeing or disagreeing with. Neither of you are right? Let's just say Daniel wants to expand and Catherine's like, I'm terrified. They're nodding like, you had a 50-50 chance of getting it. You got it. Daniel is neither right nor wrong. Catherine is neither right nor wrong. The right is what you agree is right for your family, right? So in that, there's increased opportunity to grow faster. There's increased opportunity for financial rewards, but it will cost doing scary things, right? So if you value doing not having to do scary things higher than money, then don't do it. If you value doing scary thing and taking, I would call it a very calculated risk, then do it. The big trick is what we can't do, and this is all leadership of all times, is whatever y'all decide on. The trick is decide. So spending the next 6 months with you going back and forth, Daniel going, here's all the reasons we should do this, and here's all the reasons don't matter, right? At some point, we're going to agree this is what's best for Team Thaemer. Why? Because we are leaders of Team Thaemer, and that's what we've decided. We talked a lot about the last next level event, often wrong, never in doubt, right? As leaders, that's what we need to be, right? And as followers, so let's say, we'll take the scary one because that's a little easier for the example. I don't want to say Daniel convinces Catherine, because that's fraught with disaster. Let's say that Catherine decides, right? Some feeling doesn't come over her, right? She decides, I'm going to go on this journey with Daniel, right? He's not beating it over my head. He's not forcing me. I'm not being dragged along. As a woman of an independent free will, have decided we're going to try this. really important, because guess what's going to happen? It'll be hard. There'll be issues that you didn't know were going to come up. And if Katherine goes a date, see, you big dummy, I told you it's never going to work. You're all screwed, right? Because Daniel, we've agreed, Daniel, we're going to take Daniel's leading and go this way. And then as soon as something goes wrong, and it will, I guarantee you, right? We tell him, hey, look at you, you screwed up. One of two things will happen. One, he'll go, no, I didn't. And now you're in a fight, very difficult to go forward. Or he'll go, yeah, I guess I'm an idiot and we shouldn't trust me ever again to lead. And now you're screwed. So it has to kind of be with whichever you decide, or vice versa. It'll go the other way. Daniel decides, not as guilted or shamed or pressured into doing this. He decides, I love my wife. I know what she's willing to do. And it's more important to me that she feels safe and protected. And see how these are both right decisions, right? I'm not being like, oh, this is the right way. They're both right. It's whatever you decide. And then we're small. And every 2 seconds, Daniel goes, see, we're broke. If you would have let me, blah, blah, blah. Now you're screwed. It's an impossible situation. So
well, I mean, there's literally just so many different specific things in there that we're like, okay, well, if the amount of income coming in is not what we need already, can we afford to take the risk to move and create essentially a whole nother business elsewhere? I mean, it's just, there's all sorts of different things going back and forth. And so literally that's hamstrung us in the process of, okay, do we finish our systems and process it where we are currently before we pivot into a different area? Or, I mean, it's literally just a back and forth of making that calculation, becoming to that decision. It's all over the place. And so we are becoming burnt out in the fact that we don't know whether or not to grow in that amount, because that would even be, okay, we're going to have to take on debt to do it. And just, I mean, there's all sorts of calculations that we're not entirely sure.
Yeah, hold on. So I want you guys are in a great position, because usually when I'm coaching, you're live and you're like, what is he saying? And I'm trying to ingest that. And what do I want to say? And what's Daniel? So you can't really hear. So not you, humans, right? I'm not judging. I'm the same way. This is just how humans operate. Because this is being recorded, the best podcast listener for this is going to be Team Thaemert. So go back and I'm going to tell you what happened. And then when you go back and hear it again with me going, here's what happened, you'll go, holy crap, it's on tape. I can't believe that happened. So if you'll listen to what I was saying, I keep talking about what the Thaemerts decide, in reality bending to that. That's
not what the circumstances are.
And you guys, when I say you guys, but poor Daniel's been quiet. He's like, don't hit me on this. So I'm coming right after Katherine on this one, whom I love. So I'm only pulling your pigtails because I love you. I want to see you successful.
That's all right. I'm usually behind on the mental stuff after he is. So,
which is great, by the way. Usually the dummy men, usually the women are much faster than the men. So if he's kind of intuitive on the mindset, follow that dude. You got to keep her. It took me forever, whereas my wife gets it naturally. And that's not always, but typically men are like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And women are more open to tell me how to think and I'll think that way. And that's the magic. So if Daniel's already on that train, follow that dude. Follow him anyway. He's great, but that's a bonus. So nice. Yeah, I've given Daniel, I rattle his cage too. So when he's right, I gotta, Catherine's like, I knew he should have come on. The stupid marriage counselor. I would have paid him extra if he'd have been on my side. All right. So I keep talking about, here's what you guys need to decide and then bend reality to that. And Daniel said it perfectly. Katherine goes to what's comfortable, which is how poor people think, which is I have to take all these perceived realities and make my decision based on that. So I keep saying, no. You make your decision on what you want, and then you bend reality to that. You're going, I'm going to look around and see what I perceive and then bend my decision based on, like you said, a couple things that were nutballs. We'll have to go into debt. And Daniel did a great job going, no, we could. You can go to debt for anything. But no, and by the way, guys, gals that are listening, nowhere in our program is it like you got to go borrow money. There are businesses you got to go into debt for. I promise you. This ain't one of them. So and it's so frustrating because I know everyone's like, just tell me what to do. And the thing I'm telling you to do is really change your mindset. You're getting burnt out because you're never making a decision. So this conversation you've been having for what feels like 23 and a half years, even though it's probably been 3.5 months, that will burn you the heck out. So honest to goodness, pick either and decide and go that way. So I'd start with, here's the non-negotiables, right? I know you guys, so it's probably to start, it's no lying, cheating, stealing. We get nothing that's anti what the Bible says, right? So that's an easy, if we could, I'm sure you guys probably do real well selling drugs if that was what you want to do. That for you guys that's not, aside from not being good common sense, I think would violate who you are as people. Yes. So we start there, which is easy because the Bible doesn't really say anything about, it says a lot about money. But again, even the Bible is like, it's how you believe and feel about money, not whether you have money. So it's the same thing. The Bible's, everyone quotes like, oh, money's the root of all evil. No, it's not. The love of money is the root of all evil. Making it an idol. So how it's so funny. I'm like, oh, goodness gracious, I've been agreeing with God this whole time, never even put it together. If God says it's not the thing, it's how we feel about the thing, then I would probably go that way. So for you guys, nowhere in the Bible does it say go live here, don't live here, or whatever, right? So you have free reign to go. I'd like to live in a small town or a big town. I would start with your non-negotiables. So I'm guessing integrity, Bible, your core values, right, would be the foundation. So for all of you that don't have a Bible in your life, it would be your core values. For me, have fun, make money, be real, help out, and obviously do everything with high integrity, which lines up, in my opinion, with the Bible. So you start with your foundation. This is who we are. On top of that, then we're going to lay non-negotiables that are external. Like, we are not willing to raise this family on less than 10 grand a month. I don't know, 5 grand, whatever, make it it's your number. I don't care. I
like it.
What's that?
I like your number.
Yes.
I'll go with it.
By the way, everyone thinks something magical happens at 10 grand. It doesn't. 10 grand is fine, but it's, whatever. And by the way, if you're listening, it's so weird. We coach people all over the world and 10 grand is what everybody wants, but you guys live in a small town, 300, 10 grand a month for you guys would be, 2,000, 300 people of your target market. Sorry. And I love that you know that. 100 grand for you is a wildly different thing than someone living in San Francisco. Oh, yeah. Right. So don't get hung up on, there's a whole different podcast we've gone over. Talk about the life that you want first, reverse engineer that into the money. Don't just go, I want $1 million business to make 10 grand a month, because they're round numbers. Right. So I'm going to violate my own coaching because we don't have time to do the whole conversation. We'll call it 10 grand a month. If you're like, we're not willing to do that, and pick your number, because there is a number, right? Maybe it's $1,800 a month, right? And you're like, we'd have to be poor. Our kids wouldn't eat, okay, we're not willing to do that. So this isn't the goal number. This is the bottom number. Like, we'll get a freaking job before, I know Daniel, he's a hardworking dude. There's no universe where Daniel's not working 20 hours a day and his family isn't living indoors and eating, you know what I'm saying? He's going to do whatever it takes. So whatever that number is, let's say 5,000, not because 10,000 is not a good goal, but most people don't need 10,000. So we'll just say 5,000, because countrywide, that could be a reasonable number. So once you've agreed, we're not going to lie, cheat, and steal. So no drug dealing, no running numbers, no weird stuff. And we've got to make 5,000. Then we can start bending the world to that. That makes it a lot easier. And then when Katherine goes, well, I prefer to only have a town here, and you guys come up with your best plan, and you're like, well, that would take 3 years. Well, are you willing to live sub 5,000 for 3 years? And the answer is no. Well, then wada bang. You got to change at a deep level your business. So I got too often in the weeds. The big concept is, I would encourage you guys to have dinner tonight at the one restaurant in your place, at the one stoplight. I'm guessing, I don't know, but 2,000 can't be, you don't have a ton of, or God forbid you go, and I know you've got kids, so it depends on your sitting situation. You drive an hour and a half to the big town, have dinner there, stay at a hotel, kid free, enjoy yourselves, make the decision of, this is how we're going to go forward, and just giddy up. And remember, often wrong, never in doubt. I promise you, a bad solution that you're all in committed to, and you're a team and you support one another on, will have a better outcome than the perfect solution that Katherine is going to turn on Daniel in a second, or vice versa, because look at you, I told you it won't work, because they're all going to have problems, right? So it's the guy that gal that disagrees, either one wins every time. You just wait for something to go wrong, because it will, and go, see, you dummy, I told you. Yeah. Right. So that would be it. What I hear you saying is, we're really burnt out because we haven't made a decision. And my genius coaching is, well, good, make a decision.
No, I mean, in all honesty, it kind of does come down to being that simple. It's burnout because we're still running on more stuff than we want to be running in the company personally. And that's because our growth hasn't been high enough to kick those things out. Our budget isn't grown enough to start kicking some of those things. And I mean, not so much start. I mean, we probably be a little more proactive in looking for some creative ways to get some of those things outsourced. But and we are starting to do, but Yeah. I mean, we figured out our growth over the last, and it was all right for going through COVID and everything, but we added 1.6 clients
per month
in what was the time frame that was over? Was it since June, or was it since last year? Since last January.
Well, you should hopefully have how many you need, correct?
Yeah, our target is roughly, for our target amount that we want to be at as a monthly income, is around 70 clients.
Well, how many per month? Because 70 over 10 years is super easy.
Yeah, so
70 a month.
We want to add,
70 each month. So we're
you want to add 70 clients
that would be insane.
Oh, no. Our target was to add 5 a month, and we did. 5. We got 5 a month, but with everything going on with COVID, we ended up losing 3 or 4 because their situations were precarious.
That's external, right? We have
So I mean,
clients all over the world not with COVID, like they physically have it, although they've had it. And some are crushing it during COVID because, again, this is now the highlight of, holy crap, before no one's interested in talking about cleaning. Now they're very interested in talking about cleaning. Mm-hmm. So I would take away the belief of, our goal. First of all, I love that your goal is 5. That's fantastic. I love that what your actual lift was, which is 1.6. Now we're like, okay, we need to be more specific on our goal. Our goal was 5 new clients, what we thought our goal was. Now that you've got some experience, like that wasn't our goal. Our goal was 5 net clients. Well, depending on, so if we lose none, we can gain 5 this month. If we lose 3, now we need to gain 8, right? So that's clarity and goal, which is great. Mm-hmm. And I love that the 1.6. That's you guys are so good with the data that it's like a big part of it. Nobody, very, 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 very few people get. So cool. If you're like,
well, it was easy. You just gave us an Excel spreadsheet and said, hey, fill this in. And we're like, oh, okay. Sorry.
It may have been simple, but I can tell you it ain't easy because it's different. Our clients, obviously we give them the answer. So it's easy to have clients on and be like, look how smart you are. You're like, you told me to do it. I'm like, haha, I'm an evil genius. But either way, client or not, I'm really proud of you for knowing that, right? So we get a lot of emotions involved. So let's say the data. So there's facts, and then there's how you feel about the facts, and they're not the same thing. So the facts were, we set out to get 5 new clients per month. We didn't take into advantage, and it's in the spreadsheet, I promise. We didn't take into account how many, or we miscalculated. We either didn't calculate or we miscalculated how many clients we would lose. And we didn't get the 5 either way, right? It's not like, it sounds like you did get 5, but you lost 3.5. So you didn't net 5. Yeah. That's lesson learned, right? So we could go back and let's say it was Katherine, we'll pick on her for a second, or pick on Daniel for a second, who had this vision. This would be the perfect time for Daniel to go, see, it'll never work, it's dumb, blah, 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 blah. But that's not who Daniel is. Daniel's going to go, we got this, baby. We'll just sort this out, right? So lesson learned. We miscalculated how many clients we would lose. So we'll just go recalculate that. What I don't want to hear as well, because of COVID, obviously, no. And that was things they did or their thing. No, I would.
No, it was based on the calculations that we did previously were based on
being perfect.
No, well,
in some ways,
it was before COVID, and so things changed, and we just got so stinking busy with just building the business and actually, creating other systems and processes. I never got back to, hey, this was our goal. Are we meeting the goal until just recently?
Perfect example. And then we're going to wrap it up because we're over on time, but I love you guys. So, and I think this is good. This is good pod. So you said it. And again, I want you to go back and listen because I'll go one way and then you'll kind of go a different. So the reason I'm beating you up is no, it's fine. I just want you to be able to I'm not there all the time. Right. So I need you guys to be able to self-identify and then be able to kind of go back the way without me there. And that's for all of you guys, Cleaning Nation. So again, I kind of correct, and then you'll get, as opposed to a wild ass lie, pardon my language, well, because of the COVID, you told a smaller lie, or you told the truth and we just didn't quite get there. So you move from, well, we went from, we needed 5 and we got 1.6 to we needed 5, we got 5, we just lost 3.5, but it was COVID's fault, to it wasn't really COVID's fault. We were building our business and we lost focus and didn't come back, which I love because COVID, well, if COVID stops y'all from growing, then just shut down. Like, what are you going to do? Like you have no control over COVID. But when Daniel and Katherine losing focus hold you up, Well, that's great news because you can control Daniel and Catherine's focus. But if it's dependent on COVID to do this or that, or the governor of your state to do this or that, you're boned. All businesses just shut down, right? But if once you go, it wasn't COVID. We use COVID as an excuse as to why we lost our focus. But the problem remained, we lost our focus. That's all. So
we got bogged down in the weeds of getting on the hiring and trying to develop our stuff of training and training other people that weren't us and that sort of thing. That's kind of where our focus has been the last, what has it been? 9 months?
Yeah.
Which is fine, but comma, right? There's always the comma.
Yeah.
We always got to come back to the non-negotiables. And if the non-negotiables are, hey man, we got to, Daniel's kids are going to have shoes, not that it's that desperate, but I know as a guy, that's how I look at crap. Like if I don't do this, my kids aren't going to eat and I can't have that. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this thing whether I like it or not. So it's fine to go because of COVID, because of circumstance, because of our, we added on this, but that's all fine, but we can't go comma. So we forgot the key things, right? There's only a couple key things that we need: leads, bid, sales, applicants, interview, start, stops. That's it. So we always got to make sure we keep coming back to that. And when we're like, we're going to hire this person, or we're going to build here, we're going to do all this, that's all great. But we don't use that as an excuse to forget the key stuff. So and we got to go, we're so over, but the key encouragement I'm going to give the Thaemerts and Cleaning Nation is, honest to goodness, go with often wrong, never in doubt, right? So the action I'm going to give you guys is to make a plan today, maybe by tomorrow. Like I said, feel free to get maybe get a hotel, get a dinner, have some kid free time. It's tough to do this with kids screaming, right? Make a decision tonight and stick doggedly to that decision. And when stuff comes up, because if it's not COVID, it's a death in the family. If it's not a death in the family, we got COVID or the flu. And if it's not the flu, the kids need this. And so this fantasy of we'll kind of get our business right when everything, like you guys have kids. We'll have kids when everything's perfect. Okay, good luck with that. Or we'll have our second kid, whatever. You forget it. It's out, right? You just have them and you make it work. So we would never go, God forbid, we'd be terrible parents. We're like, well, we were going to have a great life, but you damn kids came around. Now we're screwed. We were like, no, it's fine. The kids came around. So we still became successful. We just had to change what that looked like with the kids. So same with COVID.
No, that's a great metaphor.
Yeah. With anything that comes along, we decide we're going to have this reality and then we make the reality happen. And when we take into account, well, we live in a small town. Therefore, we have to go in debt. No, you don't. Therefore, we can't grow fat. No, we don't. Therefore, none of that stuff. Therefore, the tactics and plan that we're going to put together to get where we want to go is probably going to look different from someone in a big town. See how empowering that is? Like, that's it. That's it. So, Catherine,
So, I mean, as far as the coaching standpoint, you're saying we're at a point where it'd be okay to start really entertaining, expanding into another marketplace.
Yes, but that's not really what I'm saying.
You're telling him to make your decision.
No, I'm not. Yeah. I'm just wanting to make sure that
I'm not saying that, but we're kind of missing the point. What I'm telling you is stop effing around.
Make a decision.
Make the decision. Catherine, if it wasn't your decision, you go Daniel's way, it's now your decision. No one else from the outside should know whose side. We do this in our team, and this works as a team, as husband and wife team. It works as a leader of your team. When my team and I have a thing, and I don't want to say fight, but we are very passionate about serving you guys, right? So if I feel we should do something, I don't feel a little bit about it. I feel a lot. And I've got some really smart people that feel a different way, and we will vociferously and passionately defend our positions or make our point, right? We're always respectful and loving each other, but we give two craps, right? At the end of the day, we have to make a decision, right? We don't just we do a weekly meeting, and typically we make the decisions on that meeting. We don't wait weeks or months, right? And let's say we go someone else's way. Tracy wanted to go this way and I want to go this way, and we go Tracy's way. My goal, and hopefully I do good at this, you guys, no one else in the team, no one ever knows it was Tracy's way. They all think it was Mike's way, or they can't tell because we're all super on board, right? So really important, make the decision, support one another in that decision. Don't look back.
All right.
So you're like, and that decision should be to go out of town. I'm like, I don't know. Y'all got to decide. If that's what you decide, then hell yeah. If it's not, then no. But because again, it's going to take, no matter what you do, it's going to take a bunch of time and energy and passion. So if you're not all in on it, then it's a bad decision. So the cool thing is just like love, right? Like I'm sure when you guys, Catherine's good looking, Daniel saw her. Oh, she makes me feel a certain way when I'm around her. And then, some point 3 years into the marriage, kids screaming, Katherine wakes up a little foggy, and it's not as easy to feel in love. But Daniel's like, I'm choosing to love this woman because I made a commitment. So we're going to do the same thing with the business, right? At first, it might feel super sexy and fun to open another thing or to not open another thing, whatever you guys are going to do. I promise you, some point in the future, it won't feel so good. And you'll go, yeah, but we are deciding to go forward on this because we are bending reality. So the big coaching is bend reality to what you want. Stop bending what you want to your perception of reality, which is bullcrap anyway.
Okay.
All right,
perfect.
Cool. Clean Nation, we got deep on that one. Holy heck, we went long, we got deep. Not our typical podcast. So this is your first podcast. Congratulations, or I'm sorry, depending on how you feel about that kind of in your face coaching. If you're digging this, like, holy heck, I have those beliefs. I need a new reality. I want to know what to do, how to do it. Go to growmycleaningcompany.com. We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of podcasts and free resources, all sorts of crap. We are also doing a live event next Thursday, I think. Holy crap, that sounds so close. growmycleaningcompany.com/event if you want to come to that. It's a couple $100, but the big price is 2 days of your time and focus. So if you please, it drives me nuts every time we'll have this many people sign up, podcast people, I'm doing the big hands, and then some subset of that show up. And I'm like, giving me $200, I'm going to do anything. You got to show up and be ready. So if you're going to come, be willing to commit the 2 days. That's the price. It costs a couple $100, but that's the cheap part. The expensive part is 2 days of your time and attention. But if you're willing to take those 2 days and make some of the decisions I feel like we've been a little rushed with Daniel and Katherine. We do breakout sessions. We allow you. So if you're like, I have a decision and I need someone to hold my hand, great. If that's what you need, we'll do it together on the 2 days. I would rather you do it not waiting. But if you're not going to do it, you need an excuse. Great. The event will be your excuse. I'll see you there. All right. growmycleancompany.com. Talk to you soon. Clean Nation.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you're fired up, ready to grow, and want to see if you have what it takes to work with us at Grow My Cleaning Company, here's what I want you to do right now. Go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. That's growmycleaningcompany.com/talk to book an appointment to speak with me personally. I'm going to jump on the phone with you to get you crystal clear on where you are now, where you want to be, and how to get you there. Don't walk around in the dark any longer. If you are serious about growing your cleaning company, it's time to finally get the systems in place that you need to grow. We've helped hundreds of owners of cleaning companies not only grow their business and their personal freedom, but give back to their community as well. If that's what you're looking for, head over to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk and book a time to talk with me personally. I can't wait to get to know you and your business.